For psychic line is 888-235-7374.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and thanks so much for joining Joseph and I. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
Well, we've had some really cool weather, and now it's at that point where the rains are starting to come, and it just
We've
the
had
tulip.
we've had nice days. We've had nice days, three in a row, and I've been outside, and that's nice. And it's nice to be
Oh
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Today's
It's
cold
actually hot
though.
today. It's actually here. It's hot.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday
Wow.
and today, yeah, it was hot.
Well, yesterday it was beautifully warm, but I love the hotter the better. And
Uh, I need
I'm
to
cold.
adjust. I need to adjust, because like we went from cold to hot, and so, internally the body has to adjust to that heat, and
Yeah.
so it takes at first it feels like, oh my God, it's hot, but then after a time it's really nice. Yeah.
Well, you have a dog, right?
Yes, Bugsy. Uh-huh.
And tell me about how you came upon Bugsy.
Well, he was a puppy, and I think it was my friend Dave knew that they were expecting puppies at this shelter. So they notified people that might be interested in having a puppy. Because if you're looking for border collies, a lot of times you have your feelers out and you find out. And so you want to avoid a puppy mill, and we had some of those around the area that were shut down. You don't want that. Um, I won't
But
go
it's
into what they
sad.
are.
I think it's
Yeah,
sad
but,
that, I mean, the
but
puppy mills
uh,
they need people to get those dogs, but they need them, like you say, to
well,
get
they
them
need
out of
healthy,
business.
healthy dogs, and they're not very good with that, and they're not too careful about inbreeding and stuff like that. And this was, I guess, the mother was a border collie, so
I
everything that
love
she's going
border
to have is going to
collies.
be a border collie mix. So we
Mm.
don't know what the other half was. We don't know, and we can't tell. But anyway, uh, Dave saw him at like 3 weeks, and then at 8 weeks he was able to come get him. And he's Bugsy was the one that was the largest and the most observant and the most mellow. Although still a puppy, still bouncy, but the most mellow and smart, you know. And so, he came to us at 8 weeks old, and he's been with us now for 7 years. Yeah, so
Do,
we know
do
him
you
very well.
do do
Yeah.
you feel that having a dog helps you to be more observant of your exercise?
Oh, sure. Hmm.
And do you walk him?
Yeah, not as much as I should, but
Yeah.
not as much as he would like. But he's kind of rough on the leash. You could have, it doesn't matter how long that leash is. Bugsy is the kind of dog.
Short leash. You always
Well,
have to have a short
yeah,
leash.
that's the thing though. He really wants to go.
Border collies are very, very, very work orientated. We had one
Oh
before.
yeah,
When I was
yeah.
little, we had a border collie
Mm-hmm.
mix, and my mother named him Hosanna. I don't
Aw.
know why, but
Hosanna?
um,
You mean
Hosanna,
Hosanna or Hosanna?
like the Jewish
Oh,
Hosanna, So
Hosanna.
we'd be yelling out the door, Hosanna, you know. and but Hosanna was he wanted to herd. So if the
Oh,
kids, and I had three sisters, if we went outside in the backyard and played, he'd run circles around us and around us and around us and
for
around us,
sure.
always trying to herd us. So he couldn't ever go anywhere because
Yeah.
he was always herding us. And that way they say sometimes border collies aren't the best to have with kids because they
Well,
will.
you have to teach your children about how border collies are.
Mm.
Then they're okay, as long as they grow up with them and they understand the behavior. But actually, I'd say ideally get a lab because they
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. Yeah, or something like maybe a Saint Bernard. I don't know, but there's two types that are like really great for families of kids that are gentle, but usually gentle by nature. But border collies are good if you're single, I suppose, and I suppose it's because they have a certain amount of energy, but they don't always have that border collie instinct, because they're a mix. So Bugsy never tried to herd the other dog that we had
Mhm.
here, Abby, that we recently had to put down. Very
Oh, you did?
recently,
I
like
didn't know
Friday.
that.
Yeah,
What happened?
yeah. Well, she went out to for the morning. She was fine, and then by the time she came back in, something had happened. I suspect she might have had a stroke, and then all day long, her she just got worse as time went on, and overnight it became pretty obvious because she was not eating, she wasn't sleeping, she wasn't drinking, and it was like so fast. She started to shut down so fast, and actually it became painful um, by Friday afternoon. So we had to make a decision and take her in,
Hard
as soon as.
decision, isn't it?
Well,
Hard
she was
decision.
clearly, she was going through the process, but it was really painful, and it was really because she was fighting it, but she was starting to go through the process. And it was difficult. And it was the first time I had been there for that, and I'd ever seen
Mhm.
that. So it was very sad. But I also, watching the process, I also understood how important it is that you take that responsibility because they do count on us to do that. If they live with us in our society with men and women and children, then there are certain things that they're allowed a certain dignity and peace. And since we have the means to not have that pain, why not? And because otherwise, what would happen in nature? They would lay there, starve, be exposed to nature, and prey. They would be prey for other animals too,
Well, yeah, it's just like
And it would be a
wolves.
long process, right? It would be a long process, and since she didn't go in her sleep, and we knew that she was going though, so. And you have to do that, but it's difficult. And I know Bugsy misses her. He didn't really much care for her too much in the beginning, but she was with us for nearly 3 years, so he learned to share. He learned what it meant to share with another dog, and he was pretty good about it. And it was good for him too. And actually I think he understands the loss, in his way,
I,
Plus
I think,
he's
I
been
think,
aware of what's been going on. He's a very observant boy, so I'm sure he's been taking it all in, and plus he hears us talk about it, and we have mentioned it to him too, you know.
you know,
So,
they called it the pet effect, which
hmm
is the animal bond, and it
right,
says it's the mutually beneficial relationship between people and animals that positively impacts the health and well-being of both. Like you
sure.
said, where would they be if they were in a puppy mill or so, or
Well, exactly.
on the streets? Any pet owner, most pet owners that live with a pet know that it comes with benefits
Mm-hmm.
and compassion and companionship, especially if you're
Well,
single. It gives people
yeah.
the ability to come home to somebody after a hard day work of hating everybody at the office or wherever, and they can come home and this creature is just,
Right.
oh my God, I love you so much. And it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, thank you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that is such an ego enhancement, spiritual enhancement. I don't
Yeah.
I know with my mother, when my stepfather died, I told her, Mom, you need a pet. You need a cat. I've got lots of cats. I'm an animal rescuer. I've got lots of
Uh,
cats, and we just had a bunch of kittens. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know. I haven't had a pet forever." And so she ended up deciding yes, and she drove all the way from
mm-hmm.
North Carolina, and she got this kitten who we named Chi, Hosanna Chi, you know. But anyway, Chi was part Manx, and Manx is just these. They often get huge, but
Right.
he was went back to North Carolina with her, and they lived happily ever after. She healed so fast from her new identity as a person with a mate gone.
Uh-huh.
She healed so fast just because she had somebody to take care of,
Well, the
somebody to worry about.
companionship is really nice, and
Yes.
plus, like now, if we tend to be living out in the country, and it's good to have another species living with you that in your family that that is aware of things long before you are, which is nice. It's like it's our first alert that somebody's coming, which is nice. And dogs always sense changes in the environment long before we do, you know. And they have that sense, which is actually that's what we're talking about today too. Is the senses of animals. What was it? Pets of the paranormal. That brings us to that
Mhm.
topic really rather neatly, doesn't it?
It does.
Um,
One moment, I do want to say hello to Sarah from Hawaii and to
ah,
Carolyn from Atlanta and Casey from Ohio. We're going to finish the paranormal subject with pets and then we'll get right to you. Okay, and for
yeah.
those who would like a reading, the number to call in is 602 666 6027 and call in for a live reading, or you can quick us. All right, go ahead, Joseph.
Well, now you have a household full of critters, and I'm sure that
Oh
they've
boy,
always
do
been
I.
aware. But I came upon something very interesting. I found it on a site I've never seen before. The Thought Company, thoughtcompany.com or thoughtcode.com. It's very interesting. No ads, very nicely presented. But they said, can dogs see ghosts? And they say dogs can be just as sensitive as cats when it comes to sensing the unseen. I guess that would be, we know the colors that a dog sees by the physical evidence of like how many rods and cones are in their eyes and what they look like. And so we've determined that they probably only see blue and yellow, and everything else is more or less sepia or monotoned. So things like a red toy on a green lawn, if it's the same value, they're not going to see it. Okay, so they don't really see red the way we do. However, their noses, their sense of smell is very strong. Very what you call acute, I guess, an acute sense of smell, or
100
very
times
very
more than a human.
yeah. And the thing is, with them, it's wired into their vision somehow, and they're getting a whole different picture beyond what their eyes are getting. They're also getting that scent, which is also it's also registering their brain as an image as well, which enhances which they're very sensitive. And you might notice that if you're having company, if you're expecting somebody or someone arriving, it almost seems like they know, like about a half hour or so before they actually get there. Like, it's not like they even hear the vibration. It's not know yet, but they usually do know. It isn't just a matter of the timing that they're used to. Like say if you're home every day at 5, at 4:30 they'll get anxious. It's not that. It's more like because I've seen it with here in this house because Bugsy always knew when his owner Dave was coming home. You know, and so it's he would know long before I would. It's just like, oh, I didn't even see the car.
Right.
So
Well, that's,
it
but
doesn't
then again,
surprise me. Yeah, but this article also goes on to say they said people have reported their dogs growling at unseen beings, acting protectively towards their owners, or cowering from spirits. And animals with their intense hearing and sense of smell may indeed be able to sense other beings that humans cannot. And the ghost of animals may be as common as the ghost of humans. There are many reports from people who have sensed, felt, smelled, heard, or even seen the spirits of recently departed pets. And I have heard other people mention that
oh
to me.
yeah,
The
oh
corner
yeah.
of their eye, and actually I felt Dave's other dog, Portia, that was always very close to him. Of course, he said, I always felt her here, and he said, well, she's never been here. And I thinking, well, she didn't have to have been here. She followed him here. She's always with him, and because I definitely, I would feel her get up on the couch, and I would think it was Bugsy. If I was napping on the couch, I'd feel the cushions go down, feel that crawling up on the, feel the familiar dog crawling up on the couch, and I'd reach down and there's nothing there, and Bugsy's not even in the room. So it's like, oh, that was some dog. That
I
was
I I
actually
love
felt
this.
like a dog. Yeah.
I love the paranormal story I saw on television. Um, it was a woman who moved into a house where another woman had disappeared,
Oh.
and the dog, there was a, I think it was a Doberman Pinscher, showed up at the door, and she took him in, and she noticed that um, sometimes the dog would get really happy, and it would start to play, and it would start to dart around like it was being
Oh.
played with, and then
So it was friendly, no doubt. Yeah.
well, it ended up being the spirit of the woman whose dog
Oh.
it was, and she
Oh.
had been killed in a part of the shed or something like that,
Oh.
and she wanted to be found. So the dog kept trying to lead the owner to the place where the woman had been killed, but
Okay.
but she couldn't figure out. She didn't understand. And one day
Right.
she checked it out, and sure enough, she found bones or something. But she also realized that the dog. There were pictures of her and the woman that was murdered and the dog. So they had this connection together. And I like
Hmm.
Stephen King often writes stories about how he says dogs can hear the voices of dead people. And I always like that because it's like, where we don't hear anything, they're like hearing these people talking, having conversations that have lived
Well,
in the house and things. So that goes kind of like what you said.
well, it's like a lot of times, we're sitting around watching TV. It's a quiet night. It's a small, very tiny, dead town in the country, and we don't hear a thing. And all of a sudden, Bugsy's like, you know, trying,
Mm.
quietly barking, like, "What's that? What's that? I hear something. What's that?" Stuff like that. It's like, what? I don't hear anything. So it's good to have, and I'd say it's actually it rounds out a house. I'd say if you have a house and some property, it's a good opportunity to have an animal that could appreciate it. Because they're
And
pretty
it's a good
happy.
opportunity for
Yeah.
getting up, exercising. It's a good
Oh, sure.
opportunity to end loneliness. It's good for
Yeah.
our mental health to sleep
Yeah.
with someone that loves us. But I know there are many people that just cannot take on the responsibility. But
Well, the
we've
thing
all
is
heard
with
stories. We've all heard stories about the little
you can
little
also I will say, I mean, if there's any emergency in your house and you need to move quickly, the first place that dog is going to be is right in front of your feet. And I will say that you have to be careful. You know, you could really kill yourself sometimes.
Try, honey, try having 13 cats.
Oh my
I
God.
I have 13 cats, and I have a Saint Bernard, and I have a Golden Lab, and I have a Siberian Husky.
Oh my,
And
that's
so
quite a menagerie
these,
you got
well,
there. Yeah. You
these
got
are
any
all the
birds?
animals. I don't have any birds with that many
Okay.
cats. I used to
No.
have aquariums, but with the tragedy of storms and stuff, I got out of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I'm an animal rescuer. My husband is. We're both suckers for abused animals, or we take them in, and we're at our
Right.
limit. But um, yeah, I know about watching out for animals that go in front of you. I remember a keen call. The chat came in, and I was running with the computer to the back office, and I tripped right over the Saint Bernard. The computer went flying, and I thought, oh,
Uh,
geez, you gotta love them because
oh yeah.
anyway.
You
What?
gotta look where you're going, you know. It's sort of like you have to be aware of where your feet are sometimes. And Bugsy has a habit of stepping on the backs of my heels because, you know, he's so quick to follow me sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where you going? Where you going?
and
Go to the
usually,
bathroom. Go to the bathroom.
usually that always gets me when somebody steps on the backs of my heels, even if it's a human being. It's like, oh my God, will you just get off of my ass already?
Do I
Jeez.
really want to go to the bathroom with three dogs watching me?
No, no, I don't let him in the bathroom. And you know,
Oh,
I leave the door open when I take a bath
oh,
because
I think it's
if he
time.
yeah, if he hears me
I,
running water, he stays away. That's for sure. So that's one way to get rid of him.
I think we
He
better
doesn't want
take a
that.
call. Let's go
Well,
to
who's
Sarah
that?
from Hawaii.
Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Sarah.
Hello,
Hi,
Sarah.
thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for
Hi.
calling. What can we do for you?
I live on the East Coast at the moment, and
Oh,
I'm thinking of taking a caretaking position in Arizona.
okay.
But I'm wondering if you see anything good coming. I'm deciding between this place and Arizona. I'm wondering if you see any good homes coming to me where I live now on the East Coast.
Okay. So, Joseph, you want to pick that?
Yeah, you know, I'm hearing a voice in the background that's rather
No,
distracting. I'm not
no,
really quite sure.
I have a message coming in from somebody that wants a reading.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's
oh,
good
I
there on
see.
my
Oh, I'm
message
sorry.
machine.
I'm sorry.
That's
Okay,
okay.
never mind. Okay, well, I do see that in the past, you had a tendency to dwell on the past, which always kind of held you back from progress, and then sometimes you might have rushed into things without really checking them through, and it didn't work out. So it is something that's popped up, and it's an influence, you know, or it's something that you need to be aware of, is that make sure that what you're doing is now. I'm sorry. Now, could you repeat your question because I got distracted by that background voice?
I'm sorry.
Well, it's your
Yeah, I'm wondering
fault.
if there's. I'm
I'm
wondering if
sorry, hon.
what option looks good for me, Arizona or staying where I am in the East Coast for the
Okay.
summertime.
And you're on the East Coast right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I go real quick?
Yeah, why
Joseph?
don't you go real quick? I'm
So,
sorry.
Sarah, I'm going to look at where is your energy in the future concerning the East Coast. And when I look at that, I'm
Okay.
just going to show what is ahead of you if you stay on the East Coast. If you
Okay.
stay in the East Coast, it says you will remain very grounded. Like, you can't see these, they're too faded. There is a sense that you will have stable money. There is a sense that opportunities are still going to happen if you do. But the one thing it says is the East Coast where you are at may not necessarily necessarily show you the gratitude that you're looking for, or may not have the warm rapport that you're looking for, but it shows it's still a good place for you. If I look at the other place, what is the other place again?
Arizona.
And so if I look at the energy in Arizona, if you go there, and what comes through on Arizona, Arizona has a place that has an attitude that you might like to, just feels good that you're connecting with people on your wavelength. It shows a place where you could kind of go with the flow and be who you are. It shows a place that will at first be very magnetic for you. However, the thrill is gone shortly. And please know, for anyone that is from Arizona, I'm not saying that Arizona is anything bad, but what it says for you specifically, you go there, the energy's high, you feel like you're relating, it seems like it's exactly what you want, and then all of a sudden it goes into a quiet mode where when you're looking for the connections that you're looking for, they don't seem necessarily there as you had anticipated. So I guess I would say from your reading today, that I'm showing that where you're at is not that bad for you. But you have to go where your heart takes you. And if your heart feels Arizona, then you need to go there. Joseph, go.
Well, you know what? See, what I got here was the present situation where she's at now is represented by the King of Pentacles, and it's a lot of work. Basically, it's I'm seeing that there is a desire, and you're also being reminded by this card that yeah, do your best at work, but you got to have a life outside of work. And it's best not to make work your job your whole life, and you shouldn't let what happens at work affect your life. It's like, you know, there are people like who like maybe don't have many friends outside of work, and they have come to make friends with their coworkers. So of course, when they go from it, they lose that. If they leave that job, then they're losing much more of their life than the job. So it's good to have a stable life outside of your job, so that you still have a part of you, and so that your work is not defining you. And that's what this card is a reminder about. Okay, it's like good. It's and actually where you're at, it's not bad. It's just, you know, maybe it's not emotionally supportive to you at this time, but it's still an okay place to be. And what I'm seeing about Arizona is that this is a place where you would be more supported and feel better emotionally. It'd be kind of nice. It'd be like really kind of cool in the beginning, but it's upside down. It's the upside down high priestess, and that doesn't stay. That is like, yeah, it seems great, but it's actually kind of unstable. You know, and it does kind of coincide with the change that it would wear off. The shine would wear off of that pretty fast, and you'd be kind of wishing that maybe you didn't make that change. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that would come out. But of course, you know, it all depends on, you know, it's like your life is an equation, so you change one number and you get a different outcome, you know. So like if you stay on the road that you're on, you know, it's like either way could be okay, but you know, be aware that that shine's not going to last. You know, it's not going to be lustrous for very long. And where you're at, you know, it's kind of like, well, that's not bad for now. You know, be open to options later, you know.
Yeah, and just to affirm what you both are saying, I would actually only be going for a short period of time. So
Well,
it's funny you
actually,
both saw that.
you know, if it's a temporary thing, like you know, like something that could actually serve as a vacation, and you have a job to come back to, if it's temporary, maybe you just simply need a vacation of sorts.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Maybe you don't really need to have a major change, but just to get away for a bit and then come back, you know. I don't know how you could swing that. You know, I don't know, you know, what your resources are, but it would be nice to have that stability to come back to. I don't think I'd want to quit the job yet, unless you're, unless, you know, like if you say if it's temporary, you got to have something to come back to, right? So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, thank you. This is so helpful.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you. Okay, have a good night.
You
Yeah, you
too.
too. Bye bye. Okay, I'm going to take Renee from Pennsylvania. Hey, Renee, how are you?
Hi,
And then
Renee.
we're and then we're
I'm
going to take.
doing I'm
I
doing
wanted to
great.
say
How are you guys?
good. I
Oh,
want to
we're
say
good.
Chris from Tennessee. We'll take you right after Renee. And hey, Renee, what's going on today?
Um, I was supposed to go somewhere for uh, seminars, but I don't know that I'm going because of a ride and everything. So, what do you think is going to happen? You think the person's going to get information for me, or what? Because I don't think I can get a ride to go.
Uh,
So,
And
so am I
anything
under?
else you can pick up.
Am I un, Am I under? What is the name of the
Marva.
Marva? Okay.
Mhm.
and you're wondering if it's worth it or.
Oh no, I wanted to go. It's going to be
Uh-huh.
really a lot of motivational speakers.
Oh.
But my girlfriend, who was supposed to pick me up, she's not going because she's working. So, and I
Uh-huh.
needed to get a ride ahead of time, and I needed to get it a week ahead of time, which I just found out how they work it. So that's why.
Oh. Okay.
So I don't know if I'll be going or not going yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's really funny because I pulled the page of Pentacles for the present time, and it's basically it's telling you you might be feeling kind of overwhelmed and excited, and you're being reminded that slow and steady wins the race. But they say you need to get busy and don't sidestep the effort because you need to get this worked out. But it's not telling me how. But I'm looking at the future. At the near future, we have the sun, which is upside down, and basically, it's warning you to not wait to the last minute, which you already know that.
Yeah, I was told the
Yeah,
last minute though.
and but I am seeing that. I'm seeing that you need to be careful because I'm seeing that arrangements. It's reminding you to double check whatever arrangement that you make because it's one of those things where there's a communication or a misconcept of time or getting somebody else getting the date wrong. So that's what I'm seeing that the sun upside down in this case is a reminder that however you work this arrangement out, is that you really kind of have to be on top of it and do some double checking and not just rely on somebody else to do it. You can't kick Pat
Oh
on
no,
this.
for everything else,
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
double check because I
yeah.
now can get in touch
It-
with some other
basically,
people.
basically, it's like your card just saying, "Yeah, do that, and you'll be fine." So I
Absolutely.
guess, yeah, yeah,
I'm showing the
yeah,
same thing, Renee. What I'm
yeah,
shown is this is a kick-ass thing for you to go to. Do
yeah,
not miss it. Get
yeah.
out
Don't.
there. Find another connection. You can do it. This didn't just come up for no reason. It came up because it's here for your either by your
Yeah.
angels or by your guides to tell you that this is what you need. So you will find where there's a will, there's a way. You will find another way to get there, even if it's hitchhiking, girl. I just
I
think that
used to do it.
Well, you can
I
check.
know.
Well,
But I think, yep,
check
just
Amtrak or something, or I don't know how that would work, or how I don't know where they go, but anything any information you can get, Google Maps.
Oh, I know how
remember
to
You should
get
say
there.
if they will give
from
you
a,
the distance even if you're going by bicycle. It's really quite amazing. It's a long
well,
ways
I
to
was thinking,
go.
what is that taxi service that's
Oh, Uber? Oh God,
Oh,
Uber?
Uber.
Uber.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
yeah.
know. I can't comment on them. I don't know. I think there's some, what do you call it, controversy.
There may be.
There've been
Yeah,
some.
I don't know what to say about. I've never had one. I never tried them. I can't. I don't have an opinion. I have
No, but
taken
Yeah, I
cab.
feel I'm
Yeah,
okay. Go ahead, say
I
what you want.
I
I have
have been
taken cabs.
I have been in situations where
Yeah.
there was nothing else to do but hitchhike or take a taxi. And
Yeah,
my
I
feeling
don't recommend
is,
hitchhiking. Yeah, I don't
no,
recommend it. No.
well, I don't know. We might be safer
No.
now, wouldn't we, Renee, than we would have been back when we were stupid and young. But, I think that
I mean,
I think that you will find a way to get there because everything in your reading is saying that this is
yeah,
a
it's
good,
important enough.
good thing for you, and I show you being there. So I believe that where there's a will, there's a way, and you just get out there and
Well,
look for whatever it takes.
it's also encouraging you now that sun upside down. It's also encouraging you to ask others, to ask people you
Yes.
know, ask associates. Like don't try to figure out. Sure, look on your own, but really do because it will be something that you might need another person for. Okay.
Well, I'm going
So
to
they
ask a
always say
friend because,
ask,
uh,
and don't be afraid to. Maybe you
oh
might be
yeah,
afraid to like, oh, I can't. But
yeah, I'm going to
go ahead,
ask
do it.
a friend that was working down there in that area because I have to be there early. So I said I can leave with you and just drop me off,
Right.
and I'll be
Ah,
fine.
Sweet.
great, great.
Sweet.
So,
That works.
so I'm
That
hoping that
works.
he's still working that shift because then I can go with him.
Oh, I
Okay.
think that sounds awesome. You will get there. You will get there, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to be there. And
Yeah.
then you'll be so full of positive, motivated energy that you'll just be a bubbly,
Yeah.
fun person to come back with for him too.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd
that's
ask.
what I
Yeah.
see.
That's an option. Sure. Can't
Yep.
hurt.
Can't hurt. And if nothing else, stick your leg out and hitchhike.
Okay.
No,
Yeah. Don't do that.
no, you might want to wear your
I used to
pantyhose
do
though.
that a lot.
It's
All
like
right,
old
girl. We'll
me.
see you later.
Bye bye. Have
Okay,
fun.
take care. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Chris, and I want to, Chris. Hello, Chris. How are you, hon?
I'm doing fine.
Good. What's going on today with Chris?
Hey, Chris.
It's pretty outside today. Sunny. Hot.
Hot?
Outside. Yeah,
And,
hot.
and this is Tennessee. Is that where you're at, Tennessee?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. He's so polite. They all say ma'am in Tennessee. uh,
Well, that's
so
nice.
yes. So, Chris, an angel reading today, or what can we do for you?
Um, get angel reading.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
I am seeing that you're coming from a really from an emotional time. I am seeing that you're coming from a period of maybe being out of balance, as represented by the Nine of Swords upside down. You've had some loss, and it's sort of like you've had a revelation about human nature that wasn't very pleasant in circumstances, and it's an influence today. It's something you still think about, or something fairly recent. But the thing is, at the present time, I drew the Queen of Cups, and she's very important, and she is a very loving sort of person. And often with court cards like this, it usually is a person, but sometimes it's more of a general feel and good news. It does mean that you presently have had or are about to have some good news with maybe finances or something good happening, um, some support in all areas of your life, whether it's health and or in general, even in love, and if it's a good friend or even a girlfriend or a spouse or a mother or someone that you're close to. This is somebody that's very important right now. And actually, this is a good thing because it's a very healing thing. And what I've picked with the near future would be the Five of Pentacles, and that one is upside down. And I do see that there's something new happening, like perhaps a new job, in the near future, and also a reminder of the way, you're always going to meet somebody who's a little bit insincere, but you can't really let that, keep you from, I mean, something from the past, you can't let something from the past keep you from moving ahead. And that is one of the things that, you know, uh, you are going to be moving from the feeling of not feeling safe and secure or happy. You're going to be moving into a zone where you're feeling better, because, you know, um, you're going to eventually just be able to lighten up and start, you know,
And can I take it from here, Joe?
sure, I think it's going to work out fine. Yeah.
Chris, I'm going to tell you why it's going to work out for you. Because you have 5 gifts from your angels. The first gift says
Of the five pentacles.
you're very intuitive. You have a strong, you're very empathic. And sometimes when you're around grumpy people or people that are sad or people that are angry, you feel that. And you feel it so strong that sometimes it ruins your day. But on the other hand, you are so intuitive that you don't realize that you have a beautiful smile and that you have a energy about you that can make other people happy even when they are grumpy. The next thing I see is that you are somebody that when you make up your mind, that's it. When Chris makes up his mind to do something, or Chris makes up his mind about something in his life, you just know that that is what you're going to do. And the reason I say that is because you have the ability to persuade people or to change people's attitudes or make people feel better, or you just have a gift to heal other people through your smile, through your ability to be able to change energy because you are very intuitive. I'm shown also that even though you've gone through tough times, even though a lot of people couldn't take what you have, Chris, it shows that you keep on top of things. You keep your attitude sweet and happy the best you can. And people like that. And the last thing it says is relax. This is the gift you have. Relax. Understand that you're intuitive. You make up your mind and you do something. You have the ability to heal people's attitudes with your smile and with your kindness. You have an ability to rise above your problems and all the crap that's happened to you. And I show that all you need now, just relax. Okay, Chris?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay, honey. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Aw.
so we have the 2 messages that were in the room were for some other people. So this leaves us open to discuss, is it possible for soulmates to be animals? And it is my belief that we walk around convinced that all soulmates have to be human. And I think the beautiful thing about animals is they are energy. They are living energy just like we are. And even though you may be demanding of the universe that you want a significant other, don't be surprised if what is brought your way is a dog or a cat or a bird or, or fish. But I do have a warning here, and that's pet hoarding. I should say, huh? Do not be a person that eliminates the pain and sorrow in your life by taking on so many animals that you can't afford to feed them. That is something that you end up doing out of compassion. But if you get sick and you
Right.
have no one there, you're going to have all those pets taken away from you and they're going to be worse off.
Or they'll
And
just eat you, which is very efficient, really, when you think of it.
well, I wasn't thinking about death, but I sure probably. Um, we had, we can think of 1,000 stories of things like that. But
Oh,
the main
sure.
thing
But
is,
we could only do one or two, at a time. And I
yeah,
prefer to do that because it's very nice to have Bugsy um, being such a member of the family by being this other person, and he's not one of many. He's Bugsy, and he had to share the space with another dog, and he could. He's very well socialized, and
but they love being
we
alone,
might
don't they?
someday, we might someday again, but the thing is, we're going to have some breathing room.
For
We'll
your
see what.
lifestyle, for your lifestyle, one works best.
Yeah, one works fine. I mean, he's got company. There's somebody always here, and I'm usually home, so.
Same
you
with
know,
me.
and yeah. So, we all, and Dave works at home. So, I mean, we're home a lot. We're home a lot. So, it's an ideal situation for him, because, if he gets bored, he can always, you know, he's
Yeah,
always got someone to go to, he's
yeah.
always getting attention. Yeah.
And that is a best case scenario is when you
Mm.
are an entrepreneur or working
Well,
from
he
home.
travels well too. He travels
Oh,
with them a lot when they take road trips. So he gets exposed to a lot of he's met many pets since he was a young pup. Actually, when
nice.
he was only here for 3 weeks when they took him on 2 road trips, and he met other dogs and tried to make friends with the cat, but she knocked him off the porch. So poor little
Well,
guy. But I mean,
oh,
he got to meet a lot of dogs, and he was also friends. His first friend was Dave's mom's dog, Bessie. She was like his aunt, and she's still here. She's still around. He has someone to visit, and of course she's blind now, and she doesn't play much. But it's a property.
it's another dog.
Yeah, yeah. He's known her longer. He's known her since he was a puppy. That was his first.
Oh,
That was like his first like cousin. That he would see often. He would see like every other day. So. And they used to play together. They would chase each other, and they just love it. He learned all the dog games, and came up with his own and all sorts of things. Very social boy, very social. And Abby, the dog that came to us in her old age, she was not very social. She didn't like other dogs. She loved people. She loved children. Very good with kids. Um, but if there's another dog, she didn't like it, and she had to accept Bugsy because the whole house smelled like Bugsy, of course, and she knew it
mm.
was his place, and so she was kind of ornery in the beginning, but she simmered down, and they got to be a little more closer together, you know.
Here's a fun little article that says 14 signs that your dog is your soulmate. And we're going to say cat too, because I'm a cat
Oh,
person as
well,
well.
let's hear them. Let's hear it.
Okay. Um, it says, okay, I'm reading it. It says, you wake up to their beautiful faces in the morning looking at you as if you
Oh,
are some kind of lover. After a long day, just being in each other's presence is as satisfying as another person in your life.
mm-hmm.
That's number two. Number three, you begin to tell them your deep, dark secrets, and they look at you as if they totally understand. Number four, You feel a sense of contentment with your dog like no other person you know. And nothing or no one seems to replace that special feeling. Number 5, you know each other's flaws and you love them anyway. Even if you have to put a diaper on them, even if they chewed up your best iPod or whatever,
Hmm.
no, you still forgive them. Number 5, or that's number 6, it says they understand when you're stupid, silly, fart, or burp. Just
Uh-huh.
and most of the time they join you.
Hmm.
It says number 7, they always believe in you and bring out the best in you. Number 8, you learn and grow from each other to become better beings. Number 9, they genuinely miss you when you're gone.
Hmm.
Number 10, when you're together, the rest of the world doesn't exist. It's just you and your puppers in a cozy, happy little bubble. Number 11, it says, well, they can't wake you up with breakfast in bed. They definitely do it with a big, sloppy kiss. And 12, you never hesitate to share your real feelings with each other. Forget games. There are no secrets in this pup ship. You can't fool them, and they can't fool you. And you begin to have telepathic connection. And I think that's one of the strongest things that happens when you are truly close in a soulmate connection with your dog or cat. You begin to have that telepathic connection.
Oh yeah,
There's
I think
nothing
so.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just really nice to really get to know these personalities. You really do know them. And yeah, you really do sense them. And it's the whole thing is an interesting thing because they learn from us, we learn from them. If you watch them, if you communicate with them often, they have their own way of communicating back to you. It's very interesting.
Just a
Where
moment.
did you go? Oh my, interruption.
No, well, I'm sorry. That's how I get readings, private readings. They call me on my
Oh,
answer. Okay.
oh.
Um, it's the end of the month, and for some reason, or the beginning and the end,
Oh, I
my,
guess what's
I,
it's May. It's May 2nd, is it?
yeah,
Is yes.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
yeah, second. Okay, we have a call from Russ from Ohio. Hi,
Oh, hi,
Russ. How are
Russ.
you?
Hi, how you both doing today?
Doing great. What
Pretty
can we
good.
do
Huh?
for you? We have four
Maybe just a
minutes.
quick one. Yeah, maybe just a quick little 3 month money reading for me today, if you could.
Okay, a money reading?
Yeah,
Is
please.
that what you said? Okay.
Please.
Joseph?
Okay. Gee, I did a one card here, and I pulled up the King of Pentacles, which I am seeing that the King of Pentacles shows that you need to investigate more with a financial scheme you may be considering. It's a warning against if it sounds too good to be true. It probably is too good to be true. Even though even though this is a time when you're feeling more secure to make such investments, you're just being reminded here that uh, you need to be a little more grounded in your speculations, like get some more opinions or do a little bit more research first, okay? And but that's not a bad thing to be reminded of because actually I'm seeing a good period in store for you. You're just being it's just a cautionary thing that hey, it's going great, but be careful. It
And
should be
my
fun.
reading, my reading goes exactly with yours, Joseph.
Hmm.
It says something that you got involved in the past for money seems to be taking a hit. There's a sense of delay. There's a sense of procrastination. There's a feeling that it's not feeling like you're getting the same response financially that you may have in the past. And your reading says, in the next 2 weeks to 2 months, it may be a good idea, Russ, to go a different direction or to change something about what you were doing in the past or what you are projecting that you want to do. If it, again, if it's too good to be true, it is. And if it's begun to be too quiet and you're not getting a response anymore, that's an ass kick saying you need to change the dynamics of what you've been doing. And I show a change, a new path for you in the time frame of 2 weeks to 2 months. And it says, just please understand, unfortunately, the longer you hang on to what you depended on in the past, the longer you're going to go with less financial increase. So it's time for a change, or it's time for a complete renovation or clean slate on what you've been doing so that you can step up the financial increase. And that's what I have, Russ.
Yeah, which is good. I've been working 2 jobs for basically since the beginning of the year, close to like around 70 hours a week, and I've tried to send out the occasional resume, and I got to push that up, I guess, a little bit here, and hopefully somebody will definitely come and take care of that.
Sounds like a winner, Russ. Sounds like a win.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We're rooting for you. Okay?
Well, it sounds like things should be
Thank you.
easing up, though. That's pretty good, though. That would be nice.
Yeah, we definitely could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could go do 40 hours to do some other things that I like to do, too. Yeah. But
That would be nice to have a life, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got to say goodbye, Russ and Joseph. I'll see you next week.
Take care. Well,
And
thank
Joe,
you.
I want to say that I really admire your shirt. I've been looking at the colors and I really like it. And I would tell you to stand up so I can look at it
Yeah.
better.
I can't. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.